your story can be somebody else's survival guide.
Put on your smiley face, wear your nice clothes, dress the part.
That's it.
And act the act.
Yeah. As I said, it's showtime. And I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. Attention. I think we all like attention. We like nice stuff. Believe, I'm 62 now. I think the best is yet to come. I think there is still so much to do. And on the one hand, I have had a very, very beautiful life.
I'm Farah Shammas. Welcome to Hotel Talk. We hope you enjoy listening to this friendly conversation between people connected by real life in hotels. Today, I have with us not just a fascinating lady, but also a very dear friend, someone that I see at least monthly and every day actually on social media. Her name is Elisabeth Villiger Toufexis, and she is a life coach, but not only a life coach, she has an amazing book that I highly recommend to anybody listening to this podcast, which is called The Soul Kit. And one of the reasons I personally really love The Soul Kit is that it gives practical advice and tasks to do at every chapter, end of the chapter. And so it really does help you. It's not a huge 500-page book that will take you months and months to finish. It's something that you can flick through in your own time, at your own pace, and it really, really, really will give back to your life. So I do recommend that. She's also a podcaster of a very, very interesting and inspiring podcast called Memorable Journeys. And she's the director of Global Women Club Cyprus. Elisabeth, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And that intro and talking about my book is wonderful. And I haven't even paid you for it.
Well, it's all genuine. You know me. I'm nothing if not honest. So if I didn't like it, you would have known by now. But honestly, it really is. It's a great book.
It is.
And I love that you're so candid in it and so honest and personal, and you really do let people into your life, which is not easy to do because so many people want to show a side to them that they think everybody wants to see, whereas straight into your book you immediately go into your story. Maybe you want to share a little bit about your story on this podcast to let people know a little bit about you and how you grew up and how you ended up in Cyprus.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about my story and talking about it took me quite a long time to actually talk about it. I waited until my mother died because I was protecting her because she never accepted me as her daughter. She always introduced me as her sister. So after she died, I felt like I really need to talk about this story because your story can be somebody else's survival guide. So it's important to talk about our stories. And actually, out of my life, there is a hotel story. And I was thinking about it before this interview. I need to share this because I was very poor. I grew up with my grandparents and we never had any money. And I knew that I wanted to leave. I didn't like that village where I was growing up in because I was judged, I was bullied. Because I had no parents, I was a bastard child. That's a horrible thing to say. It's a terrible word, but that's how it is. So I started working in a hotel. I cleaned hotel rooms and bathrooms.
And how old were you?
14. I was 14 and I knew that I wanted to learn languages because I needed to speak languages to become a tour guide. And the tour guiding was my exit plan.
How did you decide to be a tour guide? I mean, this is before internet. I mean, was it a magazine that inspired you? Was it listening to stories? I mean, of all the things you could do, there's many escape routes.
There isn't many. At that time, there weren't many because in those times, we didn't have the EU. You couldn't work abroad. So there were kind of two things. One was a flight attendant and the other was a tour guide. Or it was the diplomatic corps, but that was not possible for me because I hadn't studied. Because that's another route. So tour guiding, I don't really know. I just wanted to leave one of
so desperately, so badly.
And I was interested in the world. I was very interested in the world. So I worked in this hotel. I started actually as a babysitter, but that was very boring. I got really bored. And I saw that you could make a lot more money by working, cleaning. And at the end at that summer, I got a lot of money. For me, that was a big amount of money. Like for 2 months, I got 3,000 francs.
As a salary or as tips?
As a salary? No, I don't know. But the one thing that, when I think about that time, that's when I realized also that how different hotel guests can be. Some are nice and tidy and some are horrible.
So you were literally cleaning the rooms. Yes. At 14 years old, you went into a local hotel, presumably, somewhere you could walk to, and they gave you a job as a cleaner.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Give us some of the highs and lows.
Well, I just remember, I was there with a cousin. We had fun. It wasn't, we really had a lot of fun. And sometimes we walked in this room and I used to think these people are pigs. Literally, the way they left the place. And then there were other rooms you walked in and you think, did anybody actually sleep in here? And I'm sure you have the same experience as being in a hotel. And of course, I've come a long way, since then, and I have stayed in very beautiful hotels. But that was my hotel story beginning.
Amazing. And then you went on, you did manage to become a tour guide and you started traveling the world. So yeah. If there's anyone who's seen a lot of hotels, it would definitely be you and obviously the countless other tour guides out there. So what are the best parts of being a tour guide and what's maybe the most interesting hotel experiences you've had along the way?
Well, the best part about being a tour guide, in my case especially, and I think in most people's case, is that you get paid for doing exactly what you love. Of course, sometimes you have clients who are difficult. Sometimes you have clients who tire you. But I think that's the challenge. That's what helps you grow. And that's also the reason why I became a life coach, because I felt that I had so much people's experience. When people are out of their comfort zone on a trip away from their people and their home, they tell you everything. They really tell you.
Become like a psychologist, I'm sure.
Yes. And that's why I trained, because when about 10 years ago, I thought I want to use this, but I need tools. That's why I started training as a coach. But yes, I've lived in hotels. There were times when I lived in a hotel in New York for 4 months. I lived in Thailand at the Meridian for 4 months in Phuket, and lots of funny stories. And also during the round trips.
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy living in a hotel, or did you miss the stability of a house?
I'd actually like to live in a hotel for the rest of my life.
Really?
I love being served. There's nothing better than leaving the hotel, the room in the morning, coming back. Like in Thailand, every time you come back, there is an orchid on your bed, and it's actually horrible because you end up picking up this beautiful orchid and you just throw it in the garbage because you're so used, you don't know what to do with them anymore. But I love hotels. I love being served. I love going for breakfast. I don't really need a house.
Oh, that's so nice. So tell us a little bit more about your experience as a tour guide and the people, because that's also the tourism industry. I'm sure, so it's a redundant question to say, did anybody ever make you cry? But give us some insight into that. And maybe if a younger person is listening to this and saying, oh, this is what I would like to do, and how am I going to handle that? How am I going to handle a difficult customer or a difficult person in life?
Yeah, of course, people made me cry, but mostly when I was alone later on. I don't think I ever cracked up. I don't remember, but
you're strong.
Well, it's a bit of a show, it's showtime. But I will never forget this one man when I went on my first round trip in India. I had no idea. I was still working for Air Tour Swiss at the time. Kwani had very good tour guide reports. They were well prepared, but that company, they had nothing. And it was a tour that was advertised in a local newspaper. And when I went for my briefing and I wanted some information, they said, just go and have a look and come back and tell us. So I went to the airport and I met my tour group at the gate to fly to Delhi, via Frankfurt to Delhi. And this man came to me and he said to me, this is my 5th trip to India. And, I'm very much looking forward to it. And I thought, oh, my God, this is my first trip to India. And we were not really allowed to tell our people that this was the first time we went somewhere. We had to pretend that we had been there a few times. So I thought I have to crack this man because, I have to impress him. And I really, really paid a lot of attention to him. He was lovely, very demanding, but he was happy at the end.
Amazing.
Yes, but it's, I don't know, being a tour guide is really also a little bit being an actor.
Well, that I couldn't agree more. We say this to our staff as well in the hotel. Like, you're on stage.
Yes.
You know, nobody, it's not their job to care if your pet's passed away in the morning or you've had a fight with your boyfriend or, you know, your mother's annoyed with you for something. You have to come in, put on your smiley face, wear your nice clothes, dress the part.
That's it.
And act the act.
Yeah. As I said, it's showtime. And I think the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So who inspired you most in your life? I mean, we know that you grew up, you know, with your grandparents as your parents, your mother was your sister. You came from a small village, as you've said, and then you traveled the world. So you've seen and met a lot of people, and obviously we've all been exposed to media, but who is it that you would say, or one of the people that's really inspired you to do what you do?
I had an experience in Florida in 1989. I was out with a tour group and I went to to a shopping mall for lunch with the tour group, and I went into a bookstore and I bought this book. And, you know, in 1989, nobody talked about personal development. I bought this book by Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And I went to Marco Island. I remember that was the night we stayed. And I went to my room and I started reading this book. And I didn't know that I had a subconscious mind. I didn't know what a subconscious mind is. And I was fascinated, really, really fascinated. And that was the beginning of my personal development journey. That's when I realized that we have so much more power over ourselves than we think we do, that we are not remote controlled if we don't want to be, because 95% of everything we do is driven by the subconscious mind if we allow it, if we don't take charge of our mind. And funny enough, about 2 months later, I was in California. I was in LA waiting for a tour group, and I had 2 days off, and I was bored in this hotel walking around, and I saw this ballroom, this sign outside the ballroom, public speaking seminar. And I thought, oh, well, that's what I do, public speaking, because as a tour guide, you speak to people. And I went to this public speaking seminar, and I'm still not sure until today if I paid for it, but I bought the book at the end, and it was given by Tony Robbins.
Wow.
In 1989. We are the same age. We were both 29 at the time. So he was crazy and young, and he was wearing shorts and a yellow T-shirt, and he really made an impression on me. So now I don't know who impressed me most. There are many, many people who impress me. You know who really impresses me? Kind people. I don't like arrogant people. If people are nice to you, no matter who they are, whether they are, I don't know,
background,
anything, those are my people. I like nice people.
Yeah, that's one of our things in the hotel. We have our new slogan, radiate kindness. And yeah, we've been saying kind people are our kind of people.
Yeah, you still have to deal with the other ones too, though. But
unfortunately,
yes.
But yeah, we can do our best.
Yeah.
So what was your most memorable journey? I mean, you've already mentioned quite a few, but if there was one that you had to pick out?
My most memorable journeys are the ones with my friends. But, like last week, I was with my friend in the north of Greece, when you can really have a good laugh. But I think my most impressive journey, I did a South Sea World tour when I was working for Kuoni, which is like 21 days around the world.
Wow.
And you travel, it starts in Zurich, Singapore, Bali, Papua New Guinea, Sydney, Auckland, Tahiti, Bora Bora, then you go to the west, Hawaii, and then you go to the west coast, New York, and then you come back to Switzerland, because it's so expensive. And these poor people are so tired that they don't know where they are anymore. They didn't know what currency to use. As soon as they sat on a bus, they fell asleep on an excursion.
Crazy.
So never, ever go on a tour that's 21 days around the world. You need time.
That's so intense. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
It's just about the destination and not the journey.
Exactly. And your country counting is not traveling.
Yeah.
That's what some people do. Some people have seen the whole world at the age of 30, but they haven't seen the world.
Haven't experienced it.
Yes.
That's what I say. I mean, I used to travel like 180 days a year for work before I had children. And people would say, wow, you're seeing all these countries. And I used to tell them, no, I'm not. I'm seeing the airport, I'm seeing a hotel room, and I'm seeing a conference center or some clients' offices. I'm not seeing the country. At most, maybe I was lucky to have, nice dinners in a restaurant, but I wasn't walking the streets and, relaxing and enjoying the culture and the people and, buying a Magna or a shot glass at the airport on the way home is not.
No.
It's just ticking the boxes.
It's absolutely, yeah. And I think the older you get, the more you really want to smell a country. You want to feel it. You want to speak to people. And, one thing that I always recommend everybody is learn a few words of the local language. Learn how to say thank you. You don't have to be fluent, but just you get closer to people's heart when you make an effort to...
Well, how many languages do you speak?
I speak 6 languages.
Imagine, it's amazing.
Well, it was my job. And I also worked for 17 years as a translator for the Cyprus Police Association. So that helped, of course.
Definitely.
Yes.
But I think it's still a gift that you have to have. I mean, some people are born definitely more language prone than others.
Yeah, and I think being Swiss helps, of course, because you basically grow up with definitely 2 or 3 languages. So, and I think the more languages you have learned, the easier it becomes to learn another one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I wouldn't know. It's not my forte in the least. So tell us oh my goodness, I bet you can't even remember 50% of the hotels you've been to in your lifetime, but from the ones that you can remember, which was maybe your favorite hotel or a hotel that impressed you the most and why?
I love New York. And I worked in New York and I stayed at the Omni Park Central, which is actually quite a dump. It's not really a very...
But aren't the rooms... I mean, I've only stayed in New York once, but the rooms are so tiny.
Yeah, we had a suite.
Like dormitories.
We had a suite because it was our office and our apartment. So we had a little more space. But the nicest hotel I've ever stayed at, I really don't know. I'm trying to... You're asking me a difficult question. I'm not a very demanding person. If a room is clean and the bathroom is clean and I have a bit of a view, I don't like to look in the courtyard, I'm quite happy. But of course, I love beautiful hotels. I used to love going on the expensive Kuoni trips where we stayed in really, really luxurious hotels. Like staying at the Meridian for 4 months in Phuket was a treat. But I've also stayed in horrible hotels. I've stayed in places where you wanted to leave.
Oh my goodness!
And I've got a story to tell you. I'll tell you. I was I was on a tour in South America. It was a 3 weeks tour, and the first stay was in Buenos Aires. And 3 weeks tours are long, so you have to get the people at the beginning. If something goes wrong at the beginning, it's very difficult to do a tour. And we were having dinner in this colonial hotel, and I was sitting looking at the wall at the table, and there was a mirror. And I could see in that mirror behind me there was a rat walking along the wall.
Oh.
And I thought, oh my God, I have to make 100% sure that nobody sees this rat in this hotel because we're finished, And I actually reacted very, very well. And I knocked over my wine glass.
That was
attracted
a lot of attention.
Which attracted everybody's attention and got the rat the chance to escape.
Crazy. Oh my goodness. What a story. How old were you then?
Oh, I don't know, when was 87, 80? I was 27, 28. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, when you're traveling, because obviously now you're not a tour guide, you can pick and choose where you want to stay. So when you're traveling, and we know that you love traveling, you've got to stay somewhere. Where do you choose to stay? And if it's a hotel, how do you then decide on the hotel? Is it, with something with a view? Okay, you said you're not demanding. So what is it that really intrigues you? If a hotelier is listening to this and thinks, oh, I want that type of client to come to my place, what is it that would make you? Is it ratings? Is it price? Is it
it depends, of course, where I go. If I go to a town where I know that I will be leaving the room in the morning and coming back in the evening, I will choose a more simple hotel. A very important criteria for me is cleanliness. It has to be clean and it has to have a clean bathroom. But other than that, because I used to spend too much, I used to take the kids to New York every other year. And I have spent far too much money on hotels in New York because I just wanted to stay somewhere nice and impress them, or I don't know. And we were never in the room. So now at this point in my life, if I'm in a town, simple hotel, simple room. Of course, if I go to the beach or if I go somewhere where I stay longer, I like a little luxury, a spa, a nice, if there is a pool, a nice pool where you have a little service, where you get a drink, and attention. I think we all like attention. We like nice stuff.
I think we all need it.
Yes.
It's not just we like it. It's one of the basic human needs.
Yes.
I think everyone deserves it.
Yeah.
And that's something we're saying as well to our guests. You shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to have a treat, for deserving that break, for allowing yourself to have a holiday and really relax, and you should let others serve you and let others help you.
Yes, and also when there is something that you don't like, you can say it, and there is a way to say it. You don't have to be nasty. You know, you can. There are different ways to communicate, and I have now, because I used to be a little shy. Okay, as a tour guide, I used to complain on behalf of my clients, but now I have come to the point where I say when there is something that I don't like, but I say it nicely.
Absolutely, and we always have to remember the human side. I think so many people got so used to organizations and just seeing big hotel chains or, you know, large neon signs and saying, oh, I'm going to get the most out of that. It wasn't a them, it wasn't a who, it was just an organization. And they forgot that a real person is at the end of that email or behind that reception desk, or is really the person that cleaned their room and maybe didn't do the best, but there's a way of saying it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. We are all human. We make mistakes, you know. Sometimes you forget to, I don't know, you forget to clean. I don't know, but there are ways, and it's okay to say it.
Absolutely. I know that you've started a group on Facebook called Age Gracefully, is it?
Yes. Yes, I did.
So, which is a lovely group. It's really sweet with some nice people in it. What would you say is the most valuable lesson that life and, let's say, age has taught you thus far?
I think I believe, I'm 62 now, I think the best is yet to come. I think there is still so much to do. And on the one hand, I have had a very, very beautiful life. I am really, I think sometimes if I had to go tomorrow, I'd be fine. But I'd like another 25, 30 years.
At least.
My aim is to be able to run up an airplane stairs at 90. But age is a number. Age is a number. There, some people are old at 40 and some people are young at 80.
Oh, so some people are old at 20.
Yes, keep going, you know, and never ever stop learning and be open to new stuff. You know,
stop dreaming.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
Regrets? No, I don't have any regrets.
Good for you.
I think, you know, the regrets, there is a book, I keep talking about this book, and maybe I should find out the title, but there is a book which talks about what people regret on their deathbed. People don't regret what they did. They regret what they didn't do. So just do it all. And if it goes wrong, too bad. You know, try again. As long as you're alive, it's fine.
Absolutely. I was listening to someone recently who was saying that they love failure. And I was like, good for them. And they were like, every time we fail, we learn more.
Yes.
And that's what makes them successful.
Of course, it's also nice when you succeed once in a while, but...
well, I think you have to. I mean, the law of averages. There's only so many times you can fail, I would hope. But I couldn't agree more. If there was something else that you could have been, what do you think you would
I always wanted to be a flight attendant.
The one of the two. Was one of the two.
I applied for a job with Lufthansa when I was 27, when I had already been a tour guide for 7 years. And I actually went to Frankfurt for an interview. And they told me that I was overqualified and that I couldn't fit into a team because you have to start from the very, very bottom.
Yeah.
So and I thought, I guess that's the end of my, no. But
was it meant to be?
I could have been, I would have liked to be many things. I mean, it would have had to do something with the world, with travel.
Always traveling.
Yes, that definitely is my thing.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the happiest time, I don't want to say happiest day of your life, but happiest time of your life in general?
Well, I guess when the kids were small.
I was going to say.
I loved having small kids. I mean, I still love my kids. They're all they're 26 and 24 and a half.
And one of your children actually studied hotel management.
Yes, she studied at EHL, École Hôtelière de Lausanne, and I'm very proud of her. And maybe I had a little influence on that. I don't know. But I really, really enjoyed spending time with my children and, just sometimes being so tired that you walk into a wall, but it's worth it.
Definitely, it's worth it. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. So what is the best thing about the travel industry? I mean, obviously you love it. You've done this all your life and you've encouraged, one of your children to go into it. So what would you say if you had to sum up the best thing about the industry as a whole?
Well, the traveling as a whole teaches you, first of all, how small you are, how unimportant you are you're just a small thing. And the other thing that I have learned, and I have traveled a lot and worked a lot in different places, is that we are all the same. We're all the same. We all want to be safe. We all want to be happy, and we all want to have a living. And I think traveling helps you. Should help you to become less of a racist. It should help you to become more inclusive and to understand that everybody has a need. Everybody has a place in this world.
And so to become more humble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
More appreciative.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. So last question from me before we pick a random question.
Before I ask you a question.
Oh my goodness, you can. I don't mind. Tell me your favorite quote.
My favorite quote is, when you love life, it will love you back.
Oh, that's so nice. Did you make that one up?
I don't know. I think maybe I read it somewhere, but I pretend that I made it up.
I love it. Everyone, you should follow Elisabeth on Instagram and Facebook because she often puts quotes and her own quotes even. And really, I've met people who don't know you, Elisabeth, and they're like, oh, you're also connected to Elisabeth, or we saw a picture. We love her. We follow her, and she just makes us happy every day. Like, it's so genuine. You're, not worried if your T-shirt's a bit dirty or if you're doing a headstand and
I talked about my colonoscopy on Facebook.
I loved it. And I said to her, I wrote back, I think. I put a comment.
We have to be real.
Yeah.
Because this is it may motivate somebody to actually go and do one. It may save this person's life.
Absolutely.
We have to stop pretending that everything is always fine.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier as well about all the filters, like really to be yourself. I mean, okay, once in a while it's fun, but really just to be, as genuine as you can. And I have people who comment to me like, why don't I put makeup on every time I go live? Or that I should because I look so much better. And I'm like, oh, thanks a lot. And I'm like, no, because that is me in a dirty T-shirt holding my children with Parissa with a hand down my top with greasy hair and just saying, hi guys, this is what I've cooked today. And I hope that inspired you.
Exactly. And that's why I like you so much, because you are real.
The feeling, my dear, is mutual. Now, this is always the last part of this new podcast where members of our team have put together questions. Okay. They don't know, obviously, who's going to pick them. You don't know what question it is. It may or may not be hotel related. It's just a random question. And here it is.
I'll pull one.
Pull one.
Okay. Do you want to read it or do you want me to read?
Sure. Because I don't know what it is. So I would love to see. And I should get everyone to write down who wrote it so that if it's not a good question, I can bollock them after. But let's see. Okay. If you could turn back the time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him or her? That's a good question.
I would tell myself to do exactly the same again, because this made me who I am today and I like myself.
Oh, that makes me want to cry. What a nice answer to a lovely question.
Because, going back and telling yourself stuff, how would you know what would have happened if you knew that stuff? It doesn't matter. You do the best you can at the time with the resources available, and that's life.
That's lovely. Elisabeth, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. And I'm going to see you at Global Women this Saturday.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, my dear.
Me too. Thank you.
And wishing you always all the best.
And to you and to your beautiful kids.
Thank you.